Next on Worcester News tonight, a 16-year-old is shot to death in a Worcester neighborhood. What police are now looking for. Plus, Memorial Day parades and ceremonies take over central Massachusetts. Worcester police are now releasing the identity of the 16-year-old male who was shot and killed Saturday night. Good evening, I'm Brittany Schaefer. Sidney Crow Jr. was found lying on Holland Road when police arrived. A man tells Worcester News tonight off camera his friend was holding the teen's hand until the ambulance arrived. Crow was pronounced dead at the hospital. This is the city's first homicide of the year. Sergeant Carrie Hazelhurst says police spoke to witnesses, but little information is known at this time.
He was with the four friends. There was 5 of them total. They went to the store to make a purchase. They're on their way back to one of the friends lived nearby. On their way back, neighbors, talking to the neighbors, stated that they heard several pops. They thought it was firecrackers, fireworks being displayed, and come to find out it was actual gunshots.
Hazelhurst says one witness saw a car speeding off after the shots were fired. Police are now trying to pinpoint the details of the vehicle. Anyone with any information is urged to call Worcester Police. There's also a vigil being held tonight for Crow at University Park. A grocery store clerk shot a man who police say was attempting to rob the store and threatening a customer. According to police, 26-year-old Juan Ahorio walked into the no-name grocery store 2 on Vernon Street Saturday night. He placed a knife around a female customer's neck. After the female had escaped, the clerk fired 3 rounds at him. Ahorio suffered non-life-threatening injuries and is charged with assault and battery with a dangerous weapon with intent to rob. Police took away the clerk's handgun and license to carry. They say they are still investigating and more charges could follow. Parades and ceremonies being held all across central Massachusetts Monday to honor those who served our country but never returned. Worcester holding their annual Memorial Day ceremony at Hope Cemetery this morning. Our Rosalind Flaherty joins us live now with more. Rosalind?
Brittany, it was an emotional day for many who remember their family and friends that never came home. Gold Star mother Margaret Sotaro keeps her son Richard close to her heart on Memorial Day. Richard died during a training mission over Korea in 1994.
Richard died doing what he loved. He truly loved being a pararescueman.
Richard was 23 years old. His mother says Memorial Day is a time to honor and be proud of the service men and women who didn't make it home.
Just to remember that what they did do for us, and a lot of people don't remember that.
Dozens gathered at Hope Cemetery for the 130th Memorial Day Observance Remembrance Ceremony.
No sacrifice should go in vain.
Honoring those who gave their life for this country.
Phil Medallo served during Vietnam and says he's seen the sacrifice up close. Several of his friends are buried in Hope Cemetery.
Some of my best friends died. Then when I left, some of my best friends died too. After I left in October, they got attacked. In November, they got ambushed.
He says it's important to keep their names and their stories alive.
If it wasn't for them, we're here in America to do what we want. It's the land of the free, home of the brave.
Sotaro has 2 other sons who also serve. She says seeing the support means so much to her.
It's nice to know that so many people celebrate the holiday the way it should be, by coming here and putting flags.
Now, Richard has one of 237 memorial squares named in his honor. The squares are placed all over the city for those who served and died for our country. Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
A crowd also gathered at the Massachusetts Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Worcester to remember the lives lost. A wreath was placed in front of the memorial where the names of more than 1,500 men and 1 woman from Massachusetts who died in combat or remain missing are etched in stone. Mayor Joe Petty says they'll never forget the commitment to those who came home and those who did not.
Our hearts are heavy.
It's good that people do remember the servicemen and women who served their country during the Vietnam era, because when they came back, of course, they were not, in some parts of the country, were not wanted, and this is a good memory for them to come see what we've done. It's a small token, but it's a nice memorial.
It has been 45 years since the last American combat troops left Vietnam. The memorial was dedicated in 2002. Worcester also remembering the lives lost during the Korean War in the early 1950s. A wreath-laying ceremony taking place at the Korean War Monument on Foster Street Monday. Many were in attendance, including several Korean War veterans from central Massachusetts. While battling in Korea in 1951, George Barnes was a first lieutenant and a platoon leader. He says today he is remembering the many friends he lost in war.
Around those bricks are 30 men that were in my company that were killed in 1951. Two of them were my roommates at Quantico, and then Tom Baldwin went to the engineers because he felt the engineers were a easier thing than the infantry. And he went out to get out mines one day in the road and ran over a mine himself, and he and 7 other Marines were killed.
Barnes says fighting for his country is his greatest honor. His message is for everyone to celebrate Memorial Day because many veterans didn't get to return home to their families. Towns across Worcester County celebrating Memorial Day with annual parades including Auburn and Holden. Our Chandler Walsh was along the routes today. She joins us live now with the story. Chandler?
Brittany, town parades across Central Mass were at various times throughout the day, but all with residents coming out to support neighbors, loved ones, and all who've served in the military on this somber day. Memorial Day parades process through the streets of Central Mass towns. In Auburn, Roberta Briggs cheers on the veterans and participants. Briggs has come to the town's parade for most of her life, and as a military wife and mother, it's a meaningful day for her.
I am so proud of them for protecting the United States and the people of the United States.
In Holden, veterans say they're thinking of dear friends who made the ultimate sacrifice many years ago.
He was a navigator in the back seat of an RF-4, and we drove him to the airport, and he never came back from Vietnam because his plane crashed.
Al Sculthorpe served in the Navy during the Korean War. Today, he's reminded of his comrades who died and were buried while at sea.
A very moving thing is a funeral at sea, and that's why Memorial Day is especially meaningful to me.
Veterans say it's touching to see their town support and turnout each year, especially from the children. Youth groups marched in both Auburn and Holden's parades.
They begin to realize exactly what this means, so hopefully when they get to those teenage years, it's not about a cookout or hanging out with your best friend. Memorial Day is really about honoring those that made the ultimate sacrifice for our country.
And ceremonies followed both Auburn and Holden's parades with prayer, tributes, and moments of silence. Brittany?
Thank you, Chandler. President Trump, meanwhile, is facing some criticism today for a tweet he sent out about Memorial Day. Before going to Arlington National Ceremony to place a wreath at the tomb of an unknown soldier today, the president sent out a tweet that said, quote, "Those who died for our great country would be very happy and proud at how well our country is doing today." He then cited the growing economy and low unemployment rates. Hundreds of plastic ducks taking part in the 16th annual Auburn Duck Race Monday. The event is hosted by the Auburn Junior Women's Club. The first place duck wins $500, and there are various other prizes like Red Sox tickets for the first 20 to cross the finish line. Organizers say the event is getting bigger and bigger every year, and it's great to see the town supporting each other. The thousands of dollars raised go towards many different causes in the town.
We give 2 $500 scholarships, so that's the next $1,000 that we raise. And then throughout the year, we do different things in the community. Like this year, we did a drive for Dignity Matters. We've done Auburn Youth and Family Services for Christmas gifts. We adopted a family.
It's a little bit that makes a big difference, and that's what we're all about.
The event is held directly after the Memorial Day parade in town. Organizers say it's a great family event with raffles and activities for children.